be is everything that it can be for, thank you, for all of you. And if you notice on the board over there, I've added one word that I really, with this group tonight, I think it's really important, that word how. How to build a culture of greatness. And so as we're thinking about, as you're thinking about the things that I'm saying and we're sharing, let's slow down enough so that if there's a concept there, a lot of times I like to talk about concepts. But those concepts, which I think are really important, because a concept, then you can take a concept and put it into the context and culture of the situation that you have. I don't talk about models where step 1, step 2, step 3. For me, the most important thing is helping coaches. I think coaches are very conceptual people. The best coaches are. They can take concepts and they get it to fit with the types of athletes that they have so that you can be successful. So if we look at this tonight, a key word is greatness, and I want to make sure that we're speaking a common language as far as the word greatness, because each of you would probably have a specific definition for greatness. What I want us to think about tonight when I say greatness, it's the ability really to be at your best at the most crucial moment. To be at your best at the most crucial moment. We talk about great players, great teams. And when we think about great players or great teams, they have clutch performers. When it's time for that big play, they make it. I love to study why. Why does that happen? And what can we do as coaches to try to make that happen more often? The word greatness for me really goes back, and those of you that have heard me speak before, I always bring up a coach by the name of Coach John Wooden. And Coach was certainly a mentor to me, legendary basketball coach. Won 7 consecutive men's basketball championships in America. Probably will never be done again. Won 88 straight games. Had a winning percentage of over 80% for his entire career. But here's the thing. Coach Wooden never talked to his teams using the word winning. He didn't talk to players about, or teams about, we've got to win this game. Because what his belief was is that if we can get people to play at the best level they can, and they have, if it's a team sport, a way to make everyone else bring out their best. If the talent is comparable, your team will find a way, more than likely, to win on the scoreboard. Coach, he passed away at the age of 99 a few years ago. But he created something called the Pyramid of Success, and that's what I have up there. And the Pyramid of Success is, I became acquainted with it when I was actually in secondary school. And I actually had the pyramid in my room, right over my bed, because I love the way that he defined the word success. And if you see it in the upper right-hand corner, basically, he starts it with this whole concept. Success is the peace of mind of really being the best that you can possibly be. What more can we ask of ourselves or our players, truly? Then he ended up, it took him 14 years to create the pyramid. And if it's something you like, you can go online. He had no copyrights on it, anything like that. But he created the pyramid actually when he was a young coach and he was trying to help parents. He was getting a lot of pressure from parents as far as the winning aspect and why isn't my son this or that. And he wanted the parents to try to understand it, to look at things a little bit differently rather than just by wins and losses. But at the very top block is competitive greatness. So my attraction to the word greatness certainly came from that top block. Some of you know that I use the term significance a lot. And depending on the location that I'm in, certain countries, certain universities that I'm doing consulting work with will use different terms. So I don't get hung up on the word, it's the meaning of the word. If you don't like greatness, if you'd rather have excellence, significance, whatever you feel best. With greatness, there is no silver bullet. There's no formula. There's no, here's the secrets to greatness. I think it's really very, very clear. For anyone to reach that level of greatness, there must be an investment every day. I use the word investment. I didn't say the word sacrifice. To me, when you're talking with an athlete, I want them to think, I'm investing. I'm investing for something bigger. And that something bigger is putting that jersey on that has your club or your school's name on it. A lot of times young people today, whereas years ago for all of us or for me, sacrifice, well that was, yeah, I'll make a sacrifice. Young people today, they look at their mates and they say, well, I mean, I can't do that. I got to sacrifice. I can't do this. I can't do that. I want them thinking positive. What they're doing, they're investing. And what they don't realize probably at that age, they're investing in opportunities and learning life lessons that's going to help them much later in life. The other piece of it here with greatness, someone can't just make someone great. It just can't be imposed. You may or I may want this player to become great, but it comes from within. Greatness definitely comes from within. That being said, this is my belief. I believe it lives in everyone. There's something in there. I've never met anyone in all the years that I've coached, taught, that didn't tell me they wanted to be great. They want to, but there's something that sometimes just doesn't come out. They're not willing to make that commitment. Well, my thing is this. We're all teachers. We're coaches. We're trying to help people be their best. That makes me want to do everything that I can to help someone. Because I know once you get that feeling, which we've all had, you wouldn't be here right now, you wouldn't be involved in sport. You know exactly what I'm talking about, that greatness and how it makes you feel. Especially if you're on a team of greatness and you're surrounded by everyone that is making huge, huge investments into everything that we want on this common mission. Once you feel that, you strive to help others get that feeling. Throughout my career, that's been my goal. Some athletes aren't willing to commit, and I'll try. And then there comes a point, if it's hurting the good of the team, or they don't really want it, then I want them playing sport, but someplace else. Someplace else that isn't at the level that I was coaching. Let's take the word coaching. And I'm excited about the PCA. I mean, everything that's going on here in New Zealand. Why I keep coming back, actually, number one is the people. But it's the initiatives these people have created in New Zealand, because I think right now there is a tremendous growth spurt in the whole concept of coaching. Sport has always been huge in New Zealand. I mean, it's a way of life for you. What I think may be new is this whole business of this coaching profession and the importance of coaches and the impact that coaches can have, not just on the field, but off the field in a young person's life. Tonight, I want this to be interactive. I'm going to kick it off, but then as we start talking about how to build a culture of greatness, I want to hear about your experiences. Everyone has a story. Every one of you have a story in sport. I love to hear the story because that story connects you back to why you're doing what you're doing. Right now, I want you to think about when you were an athlete, the best coach you ever had. Just reflect. Think about that person. Then I want you to think about what made him so special? What made her so special? Those qualities somehow that coach helped you learn, the person that you grew into. That's the type of person right now that every day you're impacting with young children. For 2 minutes, for 2 minutes, just with the person next to you, talk about the coach. Talk about that person that impacted your life. Go ahead.
New Zealand coach saw me and said that you were the best team, so no way of getting there. So that's where we need to go. He drove all the way to Auckland with a yellow truck to Hamilton to get me, to take me to the Bay of Plenty and take me to New Zealand training. So I'd travel with him in his little yellow work truck and hear about all the stories. He was from Czechoslovakia. So he was a former Olympic volleyball player, so the whole way he told me stories about how he and his brother used to walk hundreds of kilometres to get to training and things like that. So there was that aspect of it, because it took time. And then the other aspect of it is he always challenged us. He was never easy on us, and it was its way to describe us. He always challenged us, he always wanted to stretch us as far. So I like that.
Yeah.
So he was taking a real interest in me, and then the challenge.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Mine's probably a little bit similar. I only really had one coach for like 11 years or whatever, and he was just like, I was in a small town, and mum was on her own, didn't have any money, and he would basically always pick me up and take me to like Wanganui or whatever, and just was always not only, we would train every day, sometimes twice a day, and he would be there for the training session. He'd drive us out on a Sunday morning out to a forest to have a bit of run and just running around the streets and all sorts of things. And there was never any time that he wasn't there. But it was also just the commitment outside of the sport as well. If you needed any help, so that he was in no matter what. So it's amazing the amount of time that he was able to give you.
Yeah, that's neat. If I can just stop your conversations just for a minute. I know some of you may not have been able to finish. You see, I love to be in a room of coaches. There's no place other that I'd rather be than listening to coaches, because coaches are passionate. You're passionate people, and you're passionate people not only about the sport, but it's the people in the sport. You love your sport, but actually, I say it all the time, I was a men's basketball coach. Yeah, I love basketball, but really what I love is the relationships and all the life lessons I learned from outstanding coaches, mentors, and all the lives of the players through the years, and watching them grow into the people they are today. I could see it in your body language. I could see it in your faces and your eyes. All of a sudden, you link back to someone that really touched you. Here's what I'd like us to do is each of you just summarize qualities of that person that were special, that touched you. I know that, I mean, just really when I was in your conversation, very similar in a lot of ways. I mean, and just think about that. Different sports, different locations. I mean, but let's look at it. I'd like to just kind of capture this, and it'll give you a chance. I think it's important for you to be able to share about someone that truly, number one, cared about you and helped you get to where you are right here. And the neat thing about it, and some of the people hopefully are still alive, they're proud of you. I think back, I have players now that are in their mid-50s, and even all through the years. I know where just about all of them are, and we stay in touch and things like that. And they really are. They're family. And even if we don't see each other, they may live on the other side of the country and things like that. When we connect, wow, you get a smile on your face, and it's just like, it could be years, it could be a few years, and all of a sudden you just start up all over again. It's like I like to say, coaching does something that it's almost like a blood transfusion with someone. It doesn't make any difference as far as the culture, where they grew up, their color. You put people on a true team, a team of greatness, and there's a blood transfusion. And you keep it for a lifetime. I'm getting ready. They're already making plans for it. I was fortunate. I had a state championship team that early on in my coaching career, before I went to the university level. So it's a 40-year reunion. It's been 40 years. It will be. And so in December, they're already planning this big event. And so, I mean, everyone's on Facebook and everything, just, getting excited about it. But let's share. Let's start right here. And just, you have an opportunity just to say, okay, fine. Hey, my coach, this is what I remember. These are the qualities, or whatever you want to say about the person that really has, that you think was terrific. Go ahead.
Time slots.
So he gave time, okay. And then what else?
Expectations and challenged us.
Okay, there were challenges. The challenges and the expectations. Okay.
So his learning or teaching techniques.
Okay. I'll just say teacher. What about you?
There's probably two real key ones. Rowing was a sport, so very technical. So rather than telling me what I should be doing, tell me what I should be feeling and how it should feel to me as the athlete.
I like that.
And the second one was he believes in me. He really got the feeling that he wanted you to succeed.
Isn't it amazing? We're going to talk about that today when we're talking about building a culture of greatness. And when we can take ownership and truly believe in ourselves, or when a young person can, they go from here to here. Now, I spend a lot of time with coaches as far as the role that we all can play in helping that person believe. Here you are, I mean, that's right there, basically at the very top. Because that's something that you're carrying with you every day of your life. But at that particular point in your life, I think, I say this all the time, that the coaches have to close the gap when it comes to having those athletes take that leap and really take the next step. we position them so that they can truly believe in themselves. Yeah, what'd you say?
I was 13 or 14, but as a football coach, he cared about us as kids and athletes. He actually made you feel, I don't know, safe's the right word, but he allowed you to play your game.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, what a difference. What would you say?
Just the commitment, I think.
Yeah.
I think I went time, but just a lot of commitment. And knowledge was a big one as well. Passed on a lot of knowledge in the way they passed it on.
Mm-hmm.
He was really engaging with each individual.
Okay.
It made you feel valued as part of the team. Quite specific with his, what he wanted you to develop in your skill. So it's quite individual.
Sure.
You as an individual as part of the team.
What would you say?
I think a few of them have already been done, but I guess for me with my old man, he was always trying to get me to do my best.
Yes.
To sort of be the best that I could be when I'm out there trying to play sport or whatever in life.
I like that. Yeah.
Loyalty is one that stands out.
Yeah.
Always go to battle for you.
If we look at a lot of the different things that you have up there, there's no set right answer, wrong answer, because for each person, each of us, with that individual, whoever that was, that coach, they touched us at a time that truly made a difference. My coach, the coach that I would answer, and I first met that coach when I was 12 years of age, and then I was really fortunate. I played for him when I was in secondary school. He handpicked me to come back and work for him as an assistant coach. That was my first job before I went from there onto a Division I university job. And what that man taught me was that I learned from him that no one could ever break my will or my spirit. He was real tough. He was really tough to play for. Back in the days that coaches could be pretty physical with you. And I developed a toughness that I didn't know that I had. I wanted to believe that I had it, but I think about him almost every day. When I was working at the United States Military Academy, I thought of him every day because of the challenges that we were being faced with, and we were taken out of our comfort zones in so many different ways. It's a tough place to work. It's a tough place to go to school, but it's also a tough place to work both as a faculty member, coach, etc. And it was funny because no matter how tough it got, I knew that no one could break my spirit. And it's really because of my coach. So I think we carry something with us that is special. It's part of who you are. But now let's flip it really quick, because I want you to think, are you making that same, what type of impression are you making on the athletes that you're coaching right now? Because that's where we're at now. 20 years from now, 30 years from now, are some of the players, if we're sitting here and I pose a question like this, would they think about you? I'm sure some of them will. Why? Because number one, I know you care. You truly care because you're trying to be the best that you can be. Why did you become a coach? I like you were having such good conversations. Go ahead, just tell your partner. Why did you become a coach? Why did you choose the coaching profession? Take 2 minutes, just explain it. What would you, yeah, I can't wait to hear what you guys are saying.
There's a lot of reasons. Part of it was when I was an athlete, I had some terrible coaches.
Yeah, sure.
And,
that can sometimes...
And I felt that I never reached my potential because I had some bad coaches.
Yeah.
Had a really important part of my career. And so I wanted to make sure that I gave back to the sport and made sure some athletes didn't go through that same experience. So that was probably one of the real big ones. But
Right.
I also got really badly injured and couldn't really compete anymore. So, and I loved the sport and wanted to stay involved.
And just
So
transferred, yeah.
there's sort of 2 or 3 factors, I guess, as to
Yeah.
why I got back in, and now I find it more rewarding than I ever did as an athlete.
Yeah, good. How about you?
Yeah, I guess giving something back.
Yeah.
It's the sport that, or just industry that's given me a lot.
Yeah.
And these kids, these adults and stuff that you coach and you see the enjoyment, but the improvement they
Right.
make, which, and like you said, it's pretty rewarding, you know.
Yeah, it's very rewarding. Yeah.
So you got a world chance or something.
Yeah.
Feel that that's really what I want to do as a coach. But like sort of the same as you, where you started coaching just for the relationships, and then you started getting really good feedback from people, and that led you to do more and you get good results, and that was quite cool. And then of course that just leads you to achieving higher goals, and that's good too. Yeah, but certainly the relationships and
Yeah.
the feedback that you do well.
I think a lot of people, as I've heard some of the answers, it goes back to wanting to give back to the game, relationships. Sometimes it's because someone may have had poor coaches too, and so they want to say, okay, fine, I love the sport so much, I want to give young people something better than I did because my coaches really weren't that good. I didn't hear. I wasn't able to hear yours. What did you say as far as why?
Well, partly to do with giving back to the sport.
Sure.
The time that was put into you. Where we said about, you know, I guess the love of our sports. You know, you certainly can't do it yourself anymore at that high level.
Sure.
And so here's a chance to pass on your knowledge and experience.
Right.
You know, to the ones that can do it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Let's look at the next one. What do you like most about coaching? I mean, let's just think about it because I want to carry on and not spend a lot of time with this because I think just from the little that I've heard so far, I probably have a pretty good idea what you like most about it, and a lot of it is the interaction. It's just trying, working in a sport that you love with people. And with whether it's young children, whether it's grown adults, and trying to do what? You're trying to help them be the best that they can possibly be. When I look at the coaching profession, the pluses I see, I truly believe this. Now, I don't think there's any better profession than coaching. You can impact people's lives. There's no better place to teach life lessons. There's always some things we don't like about the profession, and some things that we look at. Right off the top of your head, you probably have a few. What's one? I'll probably just ask a few of you. One thing that you would say that you don't like about coaching, a challenge.
One of the biggest challenges of an athlete with a lot of skill, yet not willing to make that full commitment, or doesn't quite.
Yeah, that's challenging. That's really challenging. When an athlete, I had trouble with that because I know that all of you are just like me. I mean, you're going to give, you're going to do everything that you can, and you can see this potential that someone has, and they're just not willing to commit. What is there anything that you can think of that you don't like about the what you're doing?
For me, it was sort of having to deal with our province and sort of dealing with
That's right. You put that, I like how you just put that. Yes. That can be very challenging. Wouldn't everyone agree? I mean, as far as that, yeah. What would you say?
I would say that in New Zealand we still have a bit of a volunteer culture.
Yes.
And so to make a profession of full-time coaching, when you know there's lots of volunteer coaches out there, which is really great, and you have to have a point of difference. But it does mean that often the amount of time you're putting in for the financial returns can
Right.
make things quite tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say?
Seeing athletes give in if they don't reach their goal.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
When you know it could be an extra couple of years working hard every day with the investment.
Yes.
And they don't see the bigger picture.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that is a bit frustrating.
Yeah, that is frustrating. These are all really good. What would you say? Anything different?
Well, I just like there's just not enough time to do the job as well as I like to do.
Yeah, that's right.
I'd be the same. To do the job as well as I want to do, it's a combination of what I said. One, if I could get paid enough to do it full time, I could
Yeah.
put more time into it to do it to the
Okay.
Yeah, it's a combination.
Yeah. Good points.
So same as round with the
Yeah.
commitment from the athletes sometimes.
Yeah.
You got athletes that are awesome and they'll give it their all and they succeed, and then some that have got the talent but
Yeah.
won't do the work, or
Yeah.
sometimes it's the backroom stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
What would you say?
Probably the same as the first two, but then the parent factor and school coaches with a personal agenda that they put onto the player. So I don't coach a school team, so I quite like it, go along to the tournaments, and the kid or the player is the player. I don't know much about their background, and I
Sure.
like it that way. They just are what they are in front of me. And then sometimes to get to them, you've got to go through the school coach, and the school coach has this personal agenda, and it's really
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they won't even let the athlete have the information. And
Yes. Yeah.
Plus parents. Yeah.
Okay. Anything?
Yeah, I'm the same with in regards to you've got a full-time job, 50 or 60 hours a week, and you want to put a lot more time into the coaching, but you don't get, that doesn't pay the bills, and so you'd love to put more time into the coaching.
Ed, in fact, I'm going to actually go right here, because you brought up some things, and the very first one, as far as, and this is based on my experiences in New Zealand. In New Zealand, full-time coaching positions are scarce, and that's tough. That's really tough. There's a whole wave of coaches that I talk with on every trip all over, both the North and South Island, that are saying the same thing. And they're not saying it in an angry way. They're saying it, their heart is telling them we could do so much more. I mean, the good, they're not saying it in a selfish way. They want to give more to their athletes, to help them, yes.
I think, I know there's at least 3 of us in the room who are full-time. Even when you're a full-time coach, there still isn't enough time.
That's very true.
I think that's
That's
you're a coach, so you're ambitious. You always want to do more than.
Yeah, you'll smile. You'll see one coming up here that will just pretty much just say what you just said. Number 2, we all know this. Number 3 goes right along with that. Every decision you make on game day is highly visible. Time-consuming, places tremendous stressors on your spouse and family. There is no off-season. There is no time that you are not coaching. You in this room can understand what I mean by that. I can go anywhere in the world with people that are legitimately coaches, and they see that and they know. Yes, you can be on holiday, but in the back of your mind, what are you doing? You're thinking, how can I help that athlete improve? How can I help my team get better? I can't even imagine how many napkins in a restaurant. I'd be sitting there, and all of a sudden, writing something down, or trying to, at the table, they're putting coins where you can just, setting a screen here so that coin who represents a player comes off that screen to get that open jump shot. Whatever it may be, your mind is always thinking. And you're right. I mean, there is no off season. And there aren't enough hours in the day, even if you are working full-time, but it is your full-time position. My only guidance is to you, or suggestion is this, and I say it to coaches in America a lot of times, that they would like things to be different. And a mentor told me many, many years ago, make the big time where you are now. In other words, just like what you're doing. You wouldn't be here tonight. You wouldn't be in the PCA. You would not have been selected, etc. Make the big time where you are now. In other words, just do the absolute best, make a difference in people's lives, and hopefully in your situation, New Zealand will change. Even if it doesn't, you know what's beautiful? Is you're still changing lives. You're still impacting people because you're doing the very best that you can do. With coaches like yourself, I think it's very important, because of the stressors of the job, is that we understand why teams win. And I like to look at it this way. Winning is a byproduct. Winning is a byproduct. The coach that I talked about was one of my mentors. One of the all-time winningest coaches, but didn't use the word winning. He understood years ago that winning is a byproduct. Well, it's a byproduct of what? Okay. Okay. I love it. I like sessions when, I don't want it to be my thoughts. Yeah. What's it a byproduct of? Because right now, really, this program and where you're headed right now, you're right here. You're learning every day. Now, what I want this session to be, I want it to be challenging. I want you to be, right. Okay. I want to know what you're thinking, because when I hear that, then I can help. I don't like sessions when all of a sudden it's just like, wow, everyone's waiting because supposedly here I am from overseas and I'm supposed to be telling people what it is. I'm not telling anything. You're doing it. You're in the trenches right now. I can give you things based on my experiences, but at the same time, okay. In your groups, why do teams win? Why do teams win? You got 3 minutes, and then I want each team to just say, okay, fine. This is why teams win.
These kind of the fundamentals to
That's a big
improve
thing for rugby league.
performance.
You know, we often say things. When I say work ethic, we do the team stuff. Our teams train twice, 3 times a week. Those guys, that work ethic, they're up at 5 in the morning, hitting the road, after training they're doing a lecture on nutrition or that sort of stuff. Nah, and they're always the players that do the 1% things when you ask them. So if you're saying you've got to retreat 10 metres, they won't go 9 metres, they'll put their foot out, they'll go 10 metres, you know, they'll do what you ask. And in an 80-minute match, there's always that 1 minute where, you know, there's always a team who has a lapse, and that's when a good team
Play the full game.
play the full game. Yeah.
That's what the All Blacks are good at. They play to the, whenever the whistle goes, that's it.
They've won so many games right there at the, you know, near the end. I mean, it is. It's exciting.
Big
Yeah.
difference between Australia and England, mate. That's the, and the Kiwis. The Kiwis are usually a big team. But Australia and England, Australia train for 2 games.
It's like subconscious,
England
like they
train
do
for
things
60 minutes,
naturally.
so they don't even
Have
play.
natural,
Whereas Australia
about
goes
what
to
they're
golden
doing.
point.
It's not,
That's
they're
when they
really
excel.
not really
Their
thinking about
composure's
it too
still
much.
there.
They're just unconscious.
They race 2.5.
It just happens
But they only actually
naturally.
compete 2K.
Yeah, awesome.
That's the training.
Some preparation there.
Yeah. Okay, let's, you know what I'd really like is for you to exchange ideas on why teams win. I'm going to start with this group right here. Just get one spokesperson and then just let everyone know what the two of you came up with.
We came up with, obviously you need a base knowledge across your team. A big thing for us was work ethic and commitment to the cause. We talked about being prepared, playing the full game. So obviously for rugby league it's an 80-minute game. You've got to be prepared to play 80 minutes plus extra time if needed. And we talked about doing the 1% things right.
Okay, good, because why I'm really curious, and I want to get your input, because truly where we're getting to right now is what? A culture. You're identifying the things that are going to end up going to this culture, and I'm going to talk tonight, we're going to build a framework of what we think a culture of greatness should be. Okay, how about this group right here? Anyone that wants to just take the lead?
The overall team's investment, their investment in development of the fundamental skills.
Okay,
And the team environment, and they've got charisma, I guess, and flow, and it's subconscious. It's not.
sure.
Yeah, it happens naturally.
And then what I would want you to be thinking about, how does that happen naturally? Where as a coach, what's that mean to us? How can we get players and units to do that? Because see, every time we come up with an answer, and this was the case at West Point, I could come up with an answer. I could come up with how we were going to build this team or this culture. There'd be another question. And there'd be someone asking a very direct question and putting you on the spot saying, okay, fine, wait a minute. You're not here now. You're at West Point. You got to think under pressure, and you've got X amount of time to deliver. My interview at West Point, I was interviewing, and it was the toughest interview that I've gone through, first of all. I mean, you can imagine. It was very, very difficult. But they had not given me any preparation as far as specifically what I was going to do. But at one point of it, it was a 2-day interview. But at one point, I'm sitting at a table, and it was a very formal situation, real stuffy. It wasn't any of this, oh yeah, how you doing, smiling, and everything else. It's just like very direct questions, and you never know. That's one thing about the military is there's no expressions. It'd be like absolute no expressions. You have no idea if you're really connecting with them or not. You know, I like to smile, I like to do all this, and there's just people looking at you. and then all of a sudden they said, Dr. Pym, yes sir, yeah. You've got 5 minutes. We're going to leave this room. We're leaving you one assistant. We're going to march in. You're going to have us seated as if we're cadets, and then you're going to teach a 20-minute class. 20-minute class. And then they're starting to leave, and they turn around and they told me what the subject was going to be. And so, like, I'm thinking, okay, fine. I mean, I got 20 minutes. But, I mean, that's just the way that they did things. And it's like, wow. I look back on it, and I smile. But, I mean, for the first minute, my mind was racing. I was wondering, what am I going to do? And then I realized, hey, listen, take a step back. Chill out. You've got this assistant. Okay, fine. Now use that person correctly. Arrange the room, the seats, however you want it, and then teach that class and make sure on the topic they gave me, I mean, it was a general enough topic, but at the same time, it was just like, yeah, they were seeing how I was going to respond. I don't know if they were really caring that much if everything I said was perfect. They just wanted to take me out of my comfort zone. So it's just like, get used to it. I mean, it's just like, that's what sport does to us all. All of a sudden, something happens in a game. You've got, as a coach, you have to act immediately. With this whole concept of why teams win, get yourself ready, because someday the reality of the profession is, with full-time coaching, be prepared now. If you're going to be a full-time coach, the stakes are going to be much higher. They're going to pay you now to coach. Now, whoever is paying you is going to have expectations. And chances are the expectations are what? Winning. Okay. You're going to have even less job security because you don't have this other job that you're bringing it in. Now you've got to be damn good. You've got to really be good. How are you going to do it? That's why understanding why teams win, that's a huge, huge question for many, many coaches. Because that's how they feed their family. Here's what I'd like to do, because I'll go over a lot of different things. You've had a chance to talk about it. And I'll be curious as we kind of roll this out how this is going to go. But I want us to really, number one, all of us look at it. Winning doesn't happen by focusing just on the points on the scoreboard. Really, how winning is a byproduct, and you have to develop the people that are producing the points. Don't focus on the points, focus on the people, your players, and develop them. And if you look at it, there's three things. My personal opinion, I call it TLC. You've got to have talent. You definitely have to have a certain level of talent. No question about it. No matter how great a coach you are, if your talent level, if for some reason you're attracting the bottom of the barrel, you can't expect to be able to beat the very top. But when you think about talent, it's the price of admission. Let me go back one. It's the price of admission, but we all know that talent alone is not enough. We've seen talented athletes. You probably know people. They're walking the streets now, and you look at them. It's the thing that frustrates us. People with talent, but they're not willing to commit. So now what we have to do is we have to get a level of talent, but now we have to get more than just talent. And that's pretty much like what the first couple groups were saying. Okay, fine. We're looking for someone that's going to give that extra effort. That's probably pretty coachable, all these things. I like to look at it this way, is teams win because of also leadership. And leadership, there has to be leadership at all levels. There has to be leadership in your shoes, the coaches. But the other piece of it is there has to be leadership with the players. Probably, well, I know, a point of difference in our program as compared to a lot of other programs is we really worked on our athletes learning leadership skills. Our philosophy was that every one of our players is a leader. And the reason I say is a leader is because everyone has to have self-leadership skills. Self-leadership is simple things as self-responsibility. Every player If a training session is today at 9 o'clock, okay, fine. They better be responsible enough to be there and be there on time or be there early. They've got to have self-respect. They've got to really be able to know who they are and respect who they are. They need self-discipline, self-control. All these little things that make the difference, because the more they get to know themselves, I think the better that you're able to coach them. And some of these things then, as a self-leader, will open the door for them to then be a designated leader, to be a peer leader. A lot of times we wait till, well, this person's the team captain. Well, by that time they're probably, they're older and things like that. Those team captains are absolutely critical. The internal leadership to me is the key to winning. But if you get all your players to think of themselves as leaders, and part of leadership at West Point the whole first year, besides self-leadership, was followership. In all your leadership positions right now, and whatever job you have, part of it is being a follower. You're working for someone. So that's even a part of this self-leadership that I think is really important. The other piece is the character piece. And it takes character to keep you at the top. And what we do that is, again, a point of difference is we look at all the things that you just listed as far as commitment. We call that performance character. There's two types of character. There's moral character, the integrity, the honesty, the respect. But then there is performance character. And when I talk to coaches, they're some of the best teachers of performance character. Performance character are those attributes that help someone be great or be successful in a specific environment. So now we're talking about your sport environment. So all those things that you want, that commitment, the perseverance, the resilience, mental toughness, drive, determination, to me that falls under the performance character. Focus on developing the people that generate the points on the scoreboard. The qualities of a coach of greatness, and these are generic. I had 27 teams that I was overseeing at West Point that competed nationally, and I would give our coaches this generic shell, and then I would ask them, okay, fine, help me understand what that looks like in your situation, with your coaching philosophy and things like that. And if you look at it, I think a coach of greatness demonstrates outstanding character. They lead with purpose and passion. They inspire athletes to be their best, both on and off the field. They're team builders. They unite. Their teams are unselfish. They exhibit drive, will, mental toughness. And at the same time, what great coaches do, they earn the respect and trust. I think that's important. Just because you have the title coach, that doesn't mean that players are going to definitely respect and trust you. You have to earn it. The 6 C's of coaching, you can see the ones, the character. If you don't have, without character or without integrity, you basically have nothing. The competency, we talked about that. You have to be highly competent as a coach. The communication piece, I like to say this. We all communicate. Everyone communicates. But the key is, are you connecting? You need to find a way to connect with your athletes. And for you to connect, I believe, which is our next C, you have to care. When a player knows that you truly care about them, I had it up here, someone was saying, yeah, your players, yeah, my coach really cared about me. When players know that you truly are there to help them, you care about them, they'll know when a player knows when they're not really having one of those days where they're giving you their absolute best and you jump them a little bit. They know. You're doing that. Why? Because you're trying to get them to play harder so they can help their team, so they're a better player. Confidence. Coaches have to be courageous. You make very difficult decisions at times. And you have to have the courage to, what I like to say is make the harder right. The harder right is when there's a tough decision to make, you make the right one. You know that for that particular, whether it's a moral issue, whatever it may be, you know about the importance of standing strong. Coaches are definitely teachers, and they have a unique way of being able to teach. They're also leaders. You unite people on a common mission. Coaches are builders. Great coaches build teams and cultures of greatness. Okay, so now we've gotten to that point. How? How to build a culture of greatness. There's a few things I want to make sure that we all agree on, and if you don't, we can talk about it. But this is basically number one. Culture produces results. It's the bottom line. It's your culture. It's the engine. It drives everything that happens in a team environment. But what is culture? In your team environment, whether it's an individual sport has a team environment unless you're just working with one athlete, and even then there's a culture that develops just with the support people, with you as a coach and that athlete. There is a culture.
Attitude.
What is it?
Attitude.
Attitude? Okay, good. Good start.
Behaviours.
Behaviors? Yep.
Values.
Values?
Kind of a set of rules or guides.
Goals, guides, guidelines, standards. Okay. It's the creative sum of all the people on a team. It goes right to, look, it's their collective, keyword is collective, thoughts, beliefs, and actions. Exactly what you just said. Okay, great. Everyone's clear on culture. So think about it. It's all of us right now. We're a team. Let's say if I'm the head coach, we're all in this right together. We can only be as great as what all of us, the collective sum of us. Wow. To me, I find that exciting. I mean, sport is one thing, but people are the other. And I love finding ways that people can get that feeling of greatness and being the best. Why is culture important? I think those statements everyone would agree on. Every team has a culture. Here's the important piece. It either comes as a result of an organized effort or it develops by chance. So now what's that mean for all of us right now as leaders? Wow. Okay, let's bring it right. I'm fascinated by the All Blacks. I'm fascinated by Manchester United. You talk about teams globally. I don't follow them just in the States. For years, I've been trying to determine the difference. What is the difference? Why are there so few teams that actually can stay on top or that level of excellence. And I'm curious as far as your thoughts on this. And the neat thing about it, I mean, I've been really fortunate because in my 5 trips, I've had a chance to meet some All Blacks. I spent a good part of a day with Sir John Kerwin a few years ago. I know he's under a lot of heat right now. The Blues have really struggled. I saw him a couple weeks ago. My first day here, I spoke to the rugby union, a whole room full of coaches, and it was really exciting, but they told me ahead of time. It reminded me of West Point. We normally don't invite outsiders to come in and speak. I mean, this is rugby. Why would you bring an American in to talk to rugby coaches? But it was all geared actually toward culture. And it was an exciting afternoon for me. I really enjoyed it. I did a lot of prep for it, really, because I realized, wow, it's a real privilege to do this. And actually, at the end, I was very honored. They presented me an all-black jersey that has Richie's autograph on it, Carter's autograph on it. It's going to be framed. I'm going to have it in my office at home. And why it's so special to me is really because I've spent time trying to learn about the All Blacks. I've read, I've talked to people, I've emailed people that have been involved. The one person I haven't met yet, and every time I come here, and maybe there's a chance tomorrow, I don't know, but I want to meet Wayne Smith. Because everything I read and I talk to people, he's a real key. He has a way of what? Evidently connecting and getting players united and playing at a very high level. Anyways, here, this is what I want, please. In your groups, come up with what your thoughts are. I'm trying to find, I call them nuggets. Everyone I talk with, everything I read, I try to get nuggets. 1 or 2 things that will help me become a better person, a better instructor, coach, whatever it may be. Okay. And maybe you don't know, but I mean, you're Kiwis. You've got to have some idea about this. Go ahead. You got 3 minutes, and just come up with why you think that they've been able to do it. What is it about their culture? There has to be something about their culture. We'll have a short break after this. Okay. Okay, 1 more minute. I'm going to start with your group. Okay, time's up. What I'd like to do is capture whatever your thoughts are. And we'll start here and then I'll just go right around the room. Go ahead.
The history of the jersey, the current players are not just playing for their group, they're playing for previous generations. And what their jersey stands for. They have extremely high expectations and they seem to do a pretty good job of almost self-monitoring those expectations.
Okay, they're playing for the jersey, and they got to leave that jersey in a better place than they found it. I love that. I love that concept. Okay, and then they have high expectations. So
Collectively and individually.
what's that?
Collectively and individually.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Okay. I'm struggling with something, and I'm struggling with it. I can't quite get my finger on this. Okay. And I'm not expecting an answer from you, but there's something about an all black, evidently. They put the jersey on. They're in this culture. They perform. They absolutely perform, collectively and individually. I'll use the example of the Blues, because I did see them. I can't give you the exact number. They have a large number of All Blacks on their roster. Now, I can't quite understand why, what happens to a player or to all these individuals that they put another jersey on, and I watched them. I saw the game against the Lions. I don't know rugby. I don't understand rugby. I'm watching people. I'm watching fight, will. When suddenly you fall behind, I'm looking for something special in people's body language. It's that mental toughness that I just feel that everyone has to have. The All Blacks win so many matches, games, near the end. The Blues didn't. They couldn't. They didn't. I don't know. I don't understand. Is it only then? Are we saying that culture is only when it's really not transforming someone's individual life so that that's who they are and then they're going to do it no matter what? It's just who they are? Or is it I'm only doing it when I'm all black? I don't know.
They almost they just refuse to lose.
Yes.
I think they go, I mean, and they go back to a Super 15 franchise and they become comfortable. As soon as they go into a black jersey, they know that the accountability is there, and
It's not a
you
right,
lose it.
it's a privilege to wear a
You
black
don't
jersey.
perform, you lose it. So the accountability comes in.
Okay, now, is that... How do you feel? I mean, does that bother you at all, or is it just me?
Yeah, well, I think the thing is, when they've got the black jersey on, there's 4.5 million non-coaches, well, almost. There's 4.5 million people invested.
True.
You know, you throw on a Blues jersey, well, not that many Aucklanders really care.
Okay.
Even fewer from outside, well, nobody outside Auckland cares.
Yeah.
You know,
I think the
that's the
difference
reality.
is these guys could go and play in Europe for a shitload more money,
Yes.
but they're staying
They stay here.
to play for that jersey, and they miss out on potentially a lot of income if they went to Europe. So
Because there's still the policy that for an all black, if they go overseas, that's it. Okay.
yeah, and so you're playing for the jersey, you're not paying for an income or anything like that.
Okay.
So when you're no longer good enough to be an All Black, you go and basically make an income overseas.
Okay.
But the high expectations is both on and off. It's practice, it's play. I mean, I've never witnessed the type of training session, but I imagine there's a serious level of intensity in the way they go about their work.
Okay. Other things that people want to add to that list. I know probably everyone would agree with that. What else did you have?
Oh, just that the depth of players at that level, so all of a sudden you're bringing that whole collectively amount of players up into a squad of maybe 30 out of all of those players, so then that accountability becomes...
Yeah, then there's depth. I mean, there's the talent. Then I mean, there's the talent. I don't know. Would you say that your actual talent is the best in the world, or is it you're very talented, but it's the jersey, it's the culture that is the X factor that gets you up there?
Yeah, I think it's just such, you grow up, it's just such an honour to play for the All Blacks, that when they do get there, well, your team of 14 or your squad of 30, that no matter where you are in that pecking order, you all understand your part. So
yes.
The coaches have done just such a job of making sure that everyone understands their part, and every player in that team understands each other's part, so that whether you don't get your first step on the field until 5 years' time, you're prepared to work so hard for each other because you know your role in the team.
Yeah.
The coach trying to get everyone to understand the parts of the answer and to get everyone to train
Okay.
for each other.
I like that. I think that's very, very true.
I don't think they would accept being out-prepared by anybody else.
Right.
They see themselves as being the most prepared rugby team on the planet. And therefore, far more resilient.
Okay, help me understand this one. The phrase, I don't think I'm saying anything that I shouldn't say on video. No dickheads. Okay, what does no dickheads mean?
No one's bigger than the team. No one person is bigger than the team.
Okay, no one person is bigger than the team. That's what that phrase means?
Yeah, but they got the three ratings, didn't they? Cool head, hot head, dick head.
Right. Okay.
They want a team of cool heads.
Yep.
They got rid of Zach Guilford, so they got rid of one dick head.
Okay. You've helped me a lot. Thank you. Is there anything else? Because, yes.
The one thing I guess I learned myself throughout my own sport this season, dealing with like the best, and we're lucky enough in New Zealand rowing team, which I'm involved with, the best rowing team in the world. So a similar sort of level to the All Blacks in their chosen sport. And I had to manage a whole lot of them through our national champs. And one of the things I learnt was the athletes are really empowered. And it wasn't up to me to be their coach. And I see now when I look at the All Blacks to some extent, the coach isn't their coach. He doesn't need to tell them how to catch and kick a ball so much. But you hear about them talk about the leadership team within the athletes. The athletes own it. The players own the team and the culture and the preparedness, and it's a whole athlete ownership. And the coaches are just there as facilitators. They're not there to live and breathe it.
I think another thing that I sort of noticed relating tonight is your original pyramid from your basketball coach, and how many times have we seen the All Blacks win games and then they sit there afterwards and say, well, we don't feel like we did this right, or we feel like there was improvement on this, and it almost comes back to that, they're not talking about winning, they're talking about, you know, those individual processes and things, and
you're right.
They seem half the time quite gutted after a win because they know they dropped the ball, you know, so many times, or things didn't quite gel, and they're not actually saying, you know, about the win. They're talking about the things they weren't happy with.
Yeah.
Self-analysis.
Mm-hmm. Sure. It's been interesting for me to watch. See, dynasties can't just stay the same. They have to keep finding ways to improve. And there was that period of time when the All Blacks didn't win the World Cup. And from that one real disappointing loss they had, was it France? And then that period, There's been a lot of research done, or there has been some research done, and I got to meet one of the people and talk with him by the name of Ken Hodge. Ken Hodge has done research on it, and actually he has Graham Henry and Wayne Smith, with the three of them put this together. And so I've seen the results from that. There's something that just got released when I first got here, and I had a chance to sit down with Ken Hodge, and he emailed me the new research on it. The first one was on the motivational climate, the environment, and things like that. The research that is done now that I'm just getting into is how the All Blacks, they use the phrase, they walk toward pressure or stress. Instead of how, when there's a real stressful situation, and you see some people, they either kind of try to fake it like, well, this doesn't bother me. But by them saying that, it is bothering them. Some people try to avoid stress. Well, and I don't quite understand how the actual how part of it, but I'm fascinated, and those are the types of questions I still need to get answered, is they're talking about if there's a stressor, a stressful situation, an All Black walks toward the stress, and just at the elementary stage that I'm at right now with it is I'm understanding why, because I'm in control of my step going forward. I'm not staying here. I'm not being inactive. Anything could happen to me, and I'm not moving away from it. I'm in control where I'm taking a step. But now what I have to learn is, okay, how did they, as they were taking a step toward that pressure, what was going through their mind, what was happening in order to turn that into, instead of distress, eustress, great stress, that brings out your best. This is a real interesting book, Legacy, and it's what the All Blacks can teach us about the business of life. I carry it with me all the time. I use it in all my presentations in America, but I love this statement up here. When opponents faced the All Blacks, they were facing a culture, an identity, an ethos, a belief system, and a collective passion and purpose beyond anything they have faced before. Wow. I mean, if that's the case, is there anything better than that? But then these are words. Now what we have to do as coaches is what? How's this happening? And not only how is this happening, and see, I don't want to just say, well, it's just the All Blacks. Okay, well, it's just the All Blacks. There's something there that each of us, if we really look at it, there's something we can pull from that and fit it into the context and the culture that we have. See, that's our challenge. That's why I study dynasties in whatever sport it may be. Because what is it? What is it that they're doing? And as talented young coaches as you are, understand it enough that you can get a piece of it and know that, hey, this is one little piece that I can bring into my program. That's what I think.
Martin might have to, I mean, when the All Blacks were going through the rough patch under Tane Randall's captaincy and then with John Mitchell, I mean, the culture hasn't always been that positive, has it? And not that far back, there was seriously a drinking culture.
Yes.
In the All Blacks.
Yep.
So it's probably more about how do they get the culture back?
Yes.
How do they redefine it
And if let me know, because I've got the research that Ken Hodge did. That it's not. I mean, it's public, and so I'm sure you could get it too. But I mean, if you take my email and I'll be glad to share with you that piece of it, because I think that's really, I think that's what he was trying to determine, is that period of when there was. I read that in something about they even had some major incidents after a loss and things like that with the drinking piece of it and the bad behavior. And then they had to change that. They knew they just could not, this was not acceptable. It got to the point where it was so bad that something had to be done. The black jersey, you can see that. I mean, that's exactly, your role is to leave the jersey in a better place. I love the second sentence. It's a symbol. It's a symbol of excellence, hard work, and a New Zealander's ability to become, with effort, sacrifice, and skill, the best in the world. These are, I mean, the words are phenomenal. And from what you're saying, as you're telling me this, it goes right along with what I've read and what my research is showing. Of course, with the ritual. But according to what I've read, there was even a time they were going to kind of go away from that. And then they decided, no, don't do that. What we need to do is include all the cultures in it and make sure that we bring it alive and bring it alive even stronger.
I reckon they were over-aroused and traditionally poor starters because of the haka. They did some research on it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. The 6 words, better people, make better All Blacks. Culture starts at the top. It's all of you. With your teams right now, culture starts at the very top. It's the great leaders that build the culture. But here's our challenge. Many leaders have never been taught how to create a culture of greatness or maintain one. So, coaches, you know it's your responsibility. Tonight, after we take our break, we're going to come back to a framework, not a model, big difference, a framework that you can look at that will give you ideas on how to build it compared to what you're doing now. You're all doing it now. I'm not saying that. You're all doing it. But what I always wanted to do was compare what I was doing, keep the parts that absolutely are the best, that I know is working, but be open and listen to others, whatever sport it may be, and see, is there a piece or two that you can take this evening from a framework of what I consider my personal experiences, the best of the best, and what I've been able to put together. So let's take a 10-minute break, and then there's more food back there, and then we can get into the specifics of it.